And I am here with the five-time world champion, one of the biggest stars in professional wrestling, WWE Seth Rollins. Thank you for coming here. So, on that, Seth, you perform live every Monday
That's right.
forever, right, on WWE Raw every single week. It's like one of the longest-running shows, episodic TV shows of all time.
It is, I think, number one, right?
Yeah, yeah. And so in January, Raw moved over to Netflix, right?
Yes.
Like that was such a big deal. It's part of Netflix's effort to boost their live sports and entertainment programming. But I want to know if, like, from your end, how has that switch over been for you, and like how important is this deal to the WWE?
Well, first of all, the deal is massive. The deal is the big. I think the biggest shift in the television landscape for WWE in our industry, for sure, in 30 years. But it's also huge for live sports. We're the first really live sport that's going to be streaming every single week on a giant like this. And I know, obviously the NFL does their bid on Prime on Thursdays, but that's not year round. This is 52 weeks. It's a different animal. It's on Netflix. It's kind of their first foray into doing it on the regular. And so it's going to be massive. And I think it's just a huge shift. And the availability in the homes globally for WWE is massive. And so I think it's awesome. For us as performers, the first one in January was obviously huge, WrestleMania level, and that was, a lot of hullabaloo and everything around that. But for us, it's honestly been such a smooth transition, kind of business as usual, and in a good way. So, you show up to the town and you get to work and you try to put on the best show possible. And so for us, it's been an awesome partnership. Netflix seems to be very excited about it, and we're looking forward to what we can do in the future. I think especially internationally, we're really going to be able to do some fun stuff.
WrestleMania 41 coming up April 19 and 20.
Yes, sir.
In Las Vegas. It sure seems like there's a whole lot of sports going on in Vegas lately.
Yeah,
right?
man.
Yeah. They got a Formula One race. They got the Super Bowl last year.
Yeah.
Seems like it's all going on. Is it becoming like a sports capital over there?
It's a little bit, right? It's starting, you're getting some pro teams there, finally. Golden Knights have been there for a little while. You're looking at the Raiders there. I think the Athletics are moving there shortly. So you're now getting these sports franchises there. People live in Vegas now. It's not just somewhere people go to party anymore. So it's really starting to become a little bit of a hotbed, and it's a cool spot because it's kind of like a little in between. It was the West Coast, it was California, and then it was the rest of the country for a long time. So it's a nice little stopover there, along with Denver. But it's very cool. Obviously, you love the climate, the year-round warmth. It's fantastic. It's a destination. But now you've got these cool kind of sporting events coming in there, these teams living there. I love it. I love it. I love being able to go to Vegas, bring everybody there. WrestleMania is going to be massive. We had a huge one last year in Philly. This one is on track to be even bigger, which is bonkers considering how big we did in Philly.
Bonkers.
Absolutely. I'm telling you, man.
So there's been pro wrestlers over the years who have gone to do other types of media, right?
Sure.
We got TV, radio, Dwayne Johnson, John Cena, Dave Bautista, so on. Do you have any interest in that path? And like, any idea what you want to do after this in-ring career?
Yeah, I mean, I think my long-term future is probably still in the industry, in WWE, in some capacity backstage. I think, someone's going to have to run that place eventually, after the current regime has decided they're done with it. So I like to fancy myself as someone who might be interested in that. And so, I want to learn kind of that side of things. And that's my first love. But I do have an interest in dabbling. I've done some acting, some little bit roles. That's not the most fun thing for me, but we are here Super Bowl weekend talking about football, and that is what I love to do. So I would love to be able to somehow parlay my love for professional football into a gig. My ultimate goal is to be in the broadcast booth and call Chicago Bears games on Sundays. That would be a fantastic thing for me. So, we'll keep pushing for that, and maybe sports media is in the future. But I do think long term, we're probably looking at Seth Rollins in WWE for a long time.
Have you talked to the bosses over there at WWE TKO about potentially, being part of management in the future once you're done?
Yeah, I mean, it's still a ways off, obviously. I mean, I'm closer to the end of my career than beginning, but, the end ain't here yet. So I'm kind of in my prime right now. I'm about 38 years old. Like, my mental and physical are, like, kind of, like, locked
Yeah.
in right now, where like my physical hasn't declined too much and my mental side is really on the rise as I'm starting to see the industry from a different angle. So that part I'm really focused on. I think we're in the early stages of conversations about what it might look like for me in the future in an executive or in a creative role or whatever that may be. But again, that's in its infancy. That's like hey, maybe what would you think down the road? So right now I'm focused on what I'm doing in the ring and helping out there as best I can.
So we're Bloomberg. Got to talk about business. You own a coffee shop.
I do, two.
Two coffee shops
Yes,
in
sir.
Iowa. What's that? What's it like being a small business owner?
Taxing. No, it's you know what? It's awesome. It's awesome. So I own a wrestling school as well, right next to one of my coffee shops in downtown Davenport. The other coffee shop's on the other side of town, which isn't very far if you know Davenport, Iowa. But still, it's awesome because what I get to do as a small business owner is bring something that I love or that I'm passionate about. In this case, delicious craft coffee with great service and a great experience, and I get to give that to my community. And that was really what I wanted to do more than anything. Selfishly, I wanted to have great coffee for myself when I went down to the school or to the gym to train. But at the end of the day, it was like I travel the world. I get to see and experience all of this coffee in different cultures, and I get to have that. And I don't want to just keep that for myself. I want my community to be able to experience that culture as well. How can we make that happen? And so to be able to do that and to give that to my community, to see people get to come to that job every day and enjoy themselves, build relationships, all of those types of things that you wouldn't think about just starting a business in your hometown, but you really get to see it firsthand, and it's awesome to be able to kind of be a purveyor of those things.
Mm-hmm.